listening to the Diary of a CEO podcast, which I highly recommend. Stephen Bartlett, who runs the podcast, was talking about skill stacking and how the best people in the world at what they do are actually not the best people in the world at what they do. What they are actually the best at is loads of little things that then build up to them being the best at that end goal. And it kind of got me thinking, and I just thought it was a really, really interesting concept, because something I talk about all the time is how, in order to be a successful freelance musician, you need so many skills that aren't just playing your instrument. And so I was walking Exhibit A Golden Retriever and just thought, there's a video there. We hear so much about what it takes to become a professional musician, but what do you actually need and what are just bonuses? You have to be a good player. I'm not going to dwell on this too much, because, like I say, it's obvious, but you do need to have excellent playing skills. That is a must. You need to be organised, and this is something that musicians kind of have a rep for not being.
I told you they was organised.
It's something that is just absolutely essential to the job. You need to know where you need to be. You need to know when. You need to have the right clothes with you. Double, triple check your email, especially guys, because you tend to have actually more variety in what you wear for concerts than we ladies do. So double check your email, make sure you have the right clothes with you. I also highly recommend having a sewing kit. I was once backstage and it's about 10 minutes before the concert. This lady runs into the green room and is like, does anyone have a sewing kit? And I was like, yeah, I do. And she said, all right, grab it, come with me. Led me down this corridor to the soloist's dressing room. Now this is a very well-known soloist. I shall not name her, but she was getting into her dress and the zip broke and she didn't have a spare with her. Maybe she should have done. Maybe after watching this video she will. Who knows? And so she needed to be sewed into her dress. So I sewed her into her concert dress and she went on, gave a fantastic performance and everybody went home happy. Just having these little things with you can make such a difference. And then the last thing that in my opinion is an essential is that you have to be a nice person. All the playing ability in the world doesn't count for anything if you are not nice to everyone. And I mean everyone. Not just the fixer, not just the orchestral manager, not just the principal of the section. Everyone. And this applies as well, almost even more, if you are the principal of a section. I was once on a patch about 5 days long, I think, and then we had the concert at the end of it. So we've been in rehearsals for 5 days. It is a big viola section, but that does not forgive what I'm about to tell you. We get to concert day and we're lining up outside to walk on, and the principal viola turns to my desk partner and says, "You just come in today?" She'd been there all week. Now, there is an argument that she should have introduced herself to the principal. I get that. But the principal themselves should have known who was in their section. Quite frankly, I think said principal deemed themselves rather above the extras sat at the back.
I'm better than you.
Now, obviously, this kind of upset my desk partner a bit because she sort of felt like, why was she there? And it made her feel really, really rubbish and kind of ruined the week for her a bit. So just be nice to everyone, take note of everyone. Everyone, especially like I say, if you are the principal, everyone in your section is important. You do not get to be principal of a section if there is no section to be a principal of. And I'll get off my soapbox. So those are the 3 things that I deem to be absolute essentials. But then, of course, what are the bonuses, the little sugar on top of your coffee, so to speak? Having sight reading as a strength. Now, I say that very specifically because you do need to be able to sight read, particularly if you want to work as an orchestral musician. But it doesn't have to be your main thing. But if it is, it will give you an edge. A lot of the time, I don't get sent the music ahead of time. I have to be able to sight read it on the day and sight read it accurately. It's also particularly important if you want to do a lot of wedding work. So if you want to play in string quartets for weddings and all this kind of stuff, sorry to break it to any brides and grooms out there, but we don't really rehearse before we get there and we just play. So if you are stepping into a string quartet, you need to be able to sight read really, really well. If it isn't something that is a strength of yours and that is an area you want to go into, get practicing. Having an excellent audition technique is also something that is just a great bonus, and to be honest, a lot of this is down to your personality as much as it is to your playing ability. It's also one of the hardest things to practice because you can't really just email an orchestra and say, hey, can I come and practice auditioning for you? It just doesn't work like that. My advice is to go for every audition that comes up. Most of them, if not all now, I think, are screened for the first round at least. If you go in and it doesn't go well, you actually haven't lost anything because the people on the other side of the screen don't know who you are. The only way to practice these things is to do them as much as possible. And this comes from somebody who I would say that this is one of my main weaknesses that I'm working on.
I hate this game.
Weakness? Cake.
Yes, cake is my weakness.
My playing in an audition setting is not even comparable to my playing when I'm relaxed and happy and in a rehearsal or in a concert. So it's something that I am working on. So I am going for every audition that comes my way, even if it's not a job that I particularly want. That sounds bad, but you know what I mean. If it's in a city that I don't necessarily see as moving to or anything like that, then I do go for it because the pressure's off a little bit. Because I once took an audition and I put way too much pressure on it because I felt like I had something to prove to the audition panel, even though it was screened and they didn't know it was me. I felt like I had something to prove, and because I put so much pressure on it, it was not a good time. Go for all the auditions, practice it, and like I say, if it goes badly, they don't even know it's you, so you really haven't lost anything at all. And then personally, my favourite part, which are the absolute non-essentials. Things that you may have been told you need, or at the point of your career you are right now, you feel like these are things you have to have and you're really stressing about them. And trust me, you don't need them. Number one, a first-class degree. I have never in my entire career been asked what the class of my degree was. They just don't really care. They care about your musicianship. They don't care about a piece of paper. So work hard. If you want that first class degree, go for it. But also, if you are stressing that you're never gonna have a career in music because you don't have a first class degree, then please just ignore it. Just do you, work hard, obviously, but it's not the end of the world if you don't get that. Your musicianship is so much more important. The second thing that you absolutely do not need is the fanciest instrument in the world. The best instrument doesn't exist. It's the instrument that is best for you. So pick the instrument that suits you, that is the sound that you want, that is good for what you want it to do. Take everybody's advice into account because that is really, really useful. Just because an instrument is worth thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pounds does not necessarily mean that it's better for you and it's going to suit you better. I have recently just bought a new viola and it was significantly below the budget that I had set, which is always nice. But it's, you know, it's a cheaper instrument on balance of things, but it's perfect for me. It's exactly what I want. So winner, winner. But so many people just wouldn't have even looked at it because of the price tag. You know when people are like, oh gosh, you know, you just have to spend so much money and blah, blah. And like, instruments are expensive, okay? They are. There's no getting away from that. But just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's better. And then thirdly, whilst I'm saying this is not an essential, that comes with a caveat. And it's having the best connections straight out of college. Now, connections are important. The majority of this career is who you know, who you get to know, who recommends your name, all of these things. But don't stress about the fact that you don't have as many contacts as X person, or you're not already working in so many, you know, as many gigs as person B. Just don't stress about that. These things take time, and good quality connections can take a while to build. So be intentional, that is an essential, but don't stress about it. Allow yourself to take the time to build these things up. And that's the skill stack that I personally believe that you need if you want to make a successful career for yourself in the music industry. This is obviously my personal opinion. If you have anything you would like to add or anything that you disagreed with even, stick it down in the comments below. I would love to get the conversation rolling about this. And as always, I want this channel to be a place where people feel like they can actually ask questions and they will actually get an answer rather than just, oh, well, you know, blah, and you're just sat there going, yeah, no, I don't know. No, because no one will tell me. If you're at the start of your career and you're wondering, what have I let myself in for? Then watch this video here. It'll give you some great helpful advice and tips, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.